I survived 300 days in Minecraft Hardcore. If you haven't seen the last episode I did, be sure to check it out. You guys really wanted a part 3, so I made one. This time, I had 3 goals. 1, get myself a trident, because they're really useful, and I like to have one. 2, I wanted to build myself a castle. That was something I wanted to do. 3, defeat the ender dragon and the wither at the same time. So if you guys want to see more of these kind of videos, be sure to subscribe. Let's see if we hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this month. I know we can do it, and I would really appreciate it. And all that said, let the 300 days begin. The first thing I wanted to do was to get a trident. So I headed to the ocean. Then I got into my boat and then I sailed across the sea. But then as I was sailing, there was a underwater nether portal. So I swam underwater and I came down to this chest, which had a helmet, which had a curse of vanishing on. So I left that back, then continued a search for a trident. Then I came across my first underwater ruins. So I swam down and there was a drowned zombie. So I headed towards him and took him out. And there was another one as well. But unfortunately, there was no trident, so I had to keep searching. As I was sailing across the sea, there it was, the first zombie with a trident. So then I went to go and attack the zombie. So I took him out, but then unfortunately, he didn't drop a trident, so I had to keep searching. Then after a bit of searching, I came across another underwater ruin. And then in front of me, there was a drowned zombie with a trident. After a few swings, there it was. I finally had a trident. So I got my trident, got back to my boat, and then I headed home. As I was traveling home, I came across this rather strange cave formation, which looked kind of cool. So I got home and harvested the sugarcane up. It was now time to enchant the trident. There was impaling 4, so I decided to go for that. After that, I put a mending book on the trident, so I could always repair it with XP. So I needed to repair my tools. So I went back to my enderman farm, because that gave me a lot of XP. So I travelled back to the enderman farm and gathered up a lot of XP. All my tools are now repaired, so it's now time to head home. So I needed a lot of gunpowder, so what I decided to do was make myself a creeper farm. So I cleared out a big space and I started work on the creeper farm. This is a very simple creeper farm. I didn't want to go anything too mad. The reason why I needed a lot of gunpowder was so I could make fireworks, use my elytra and fly around my world. So it just makes travelling and exploring a lot more easier. The creeper farm is now complete, so what I decided to do was go AFK for the next day. As I made my way down, there was loads of creepers and spiders, which was really good, so I knew it was working. I opened up the chest and there was like so much gunpowder, which was really good. So after that, I really wanted to make fireworks, so I went to my sugarcane farm and harvested all that up. So then I headed home and made myself some fireworks. So then I killed the enderman, and then what I decided to do was fly around my world. I flew around my world, looked at all the things that I built, and then I went to sleep. It was the next day, so what I decided to do was harvest all the carrots and potatoes up. You guys have been telling me that Fortune 3 works on crops, so I used my pickaxe to harvest all the crops up. So then I just replanted all the carrots and potatoes, put all the remaining food into a chest, so I had some backup food if I needed it. As I was going through all my loot, I realised that Bandit needed a friend. So me and Bandit, we headed out, so we went to go and find Bandit a friend. So we went exploring, and we came across this village, and I went inside the villager's home to see if there's any good loot. Fortunately, there was nothing, but in the other house, there was like 2 villagers. So we headed out there, and then we came across another village, so I headed over there, came across a cat, which was quite cool. I wasn't going to tame the cat, because we're trying to find Bandit a friend right now. There was nothing really useful in that village, so we headed out. And then finally, after a little while, we came across some wolves. So we tamed the other wolf, and there it was. Bandit now had a friend. So now we're all good. Bandit has a friend, and it's time to head home. And as we were traveling home, we came across our nether portal. So what I decided to do was take the nether portal home. So we went through the nether portal and made sure to keep them really safe. One wrong move or anything could be completely game over, so I made sure to keep them really safe. We carefully made our way through the nether. I made sure to block off all the lava and take out all the fire. And then as we was travelling through the nether, there was 2 piglins. So I got my bow out and then I shot them with my arrows. For some reason, I missed every single shot. And then I realised all the pigmen are chasing me. I was so confused. Then I realised the arrow I shot first. It must have hit a pigman on the other side. This was so bad. I had so many pigmens after me. So we all ran for our lives. But luckily, after a little while, they lost us. So we carefully made ourselves our way back home. I made sure to block up all the lava. So then I pushed my dogs through the portal and we got home safe. For some reason, they really seemed to like the Enderman. Bruh. So what I decided to do was make my dogs a home. So I turned my old room that I had into a dog room for Bandit and his friend. I also changed out the walls with crying obsidian. I thought it kind of, looked different and I thought it looked quite nice. So I also put some glowstone in so they could see. So then I just did some decorating. So we need a name for the dog. If you guys got any names for this dog, hit me in the comments. So now it was time to make myself a room. My room is pretty much complete. I also want to do some decorating, so I went to go and get some dark oak leaves and wood. So I got home and then I slept. So I added these armor stands so I could display my armor. So then I just decorated up my home. I added some leaves, added some pictures, and added some lights as well. So now it was time to go back to that village to get those villagers. I wanted to make a villager farm. I headed back to the village. So I went inside the home and then picked my minecarts and then we pushed them all the way home, which was not actually that fun to do. Honestly, that took me a very long time, surprisingly. It took me a real long time to do. As I was pushing them home, this villager and his 2 llamas literally just spawned in front of me. So after a little while, we finally got home. So I made a little box for the villagers to go in so they couldn't get attacked by any zombies. So it was now time to make the villager farm. So I just wanted a very simple villager farm, just to get it going. So I used some of that dark oak wood I collected earlier and also added some glass and stone bricks, which really went quite well with what I was building. So now what I had to do was transfer the villagers to the farm. So I put them in boats and I took them to the farm. Also made a place for the baby villagers to go. I made sure to torch up all the area so no mobs could spawn. So the villager farm was almost done, so I just had to grow some carrots. I also gave the villagers some more food, so then I just cleaned up all the mess that was left over. So now I was quite low on resources, so what I decided to do was go mining. So I flew quite away from my home and then I came across this cave, so I wanted to explore it and then mine up some coal. And then I came across a zombie, so I took him out and then I found some iron. For some reason there was so much iron here. I could not believe how much iron there is here. I also found some gold and then I came across my first bits of lava. I was so excited, I thought there might be diamonds. I jumped down and there was no diamonds, sadly. But anyways, I mined up some more iron, but then I came across my first diamonds. I was so happy. So I continue mining, and then I come across a mob spawner. So I made myself a way around the back so I could get to the chests. I opened up the chest, and there was a disc, some gunpowder, and horse armor. Then I opened up the other chest, and there it was, a name tag. And also, I found some more diamonds. So it was now time to head home. So I made myself a way out the cave, and I flew home. So I flew home, and I smelted up all the stuff that I collected, and I wanted to go and check on the villagers. So I went over to them, but nothing. So I wanted to make myself some more books. I was low on leather, so I had to do what I had to do. So I made myself some books. I wanted to go and get myself a riptide enchant, but unfortunately I didn't get it. So I headed back to my enderman farm to collect a lot more XP. And then, as I was getting XP, the enderman hit me. It did so much damage, it took all my hearts away. But luckily, I had a token of undying, which saved my life. That was a very close call. So what I decided to do was to get to 100 levels so that I could enchant a load of books. So after that, I flew home and made it home safe. And then as I was going to enchant a new book, and there it was, Riptide. So I knew that I couldn't put it on my first trident, so I had to go and get another one. So I went back to the ocean to get myself another trident, so I could have two. So I flew home and I put the enchant on the trident, and then there it was. I had another trident with a Riptide enchantment on it. So I wanted to spend the next couple of days working on my ocean temple base. So what I decided to do was make myself a nether portal so I could go to the nether and get a lot of netherrack blocks. So I marked everything out, but then I needed to get sand. So I went to the desert and I spent the whole day collecting sand. So we now had enough sand. So I flew back to the ocean temple and then I started work on the base. This really took me a long time to do. I didn't want to waste all my time just focus on this. There's a lot more things I wanted to get done. I took a break from it and hopefully we can do it next time. So I flew home, and as I got home, all the stuff has been cooked up. So I collected all my gold and iron. So after that, I wanted to repair my pickaxe. So I went back to the nether. As I was going through the nether, I wanted to collect some warped wood. So I did. I wanted to actually use some of these blocks in my builds. And then I headed to the enderman farm and I gathered up a lot of XP. Everything was now repaired, so I headed home. I wanted to collect some spruce wood because I wanted to make a pig farm. I wanted to use spruce wood for this, so I did. As I was looking for a place to build the pig farm, like a bunch of zombies just spawned right in front of me. I've never seen this happen before in Minecraft. I was very confused. So I fought them all off. And then I placed in a bunch of torches so they wouldn't spawn back. So anyways, I wanted to level out the floor. So I placed in a bunch of dirt. So it was now time to start work on the pig farm. So I placed in some fences. Then I did some decorating around. So I thought, let's grow some trees. So I planted some trees down and then bone milled them up. I wanted to build a bit of a cave for the pigs to go. So I dug a hole in the ground. Then I filled in some of the walls with stone and then added some torches and pumpkins. And I also added some grass. So it was now time to go and get a pig. Luckily, there was a pig just outside my home. I took the pig home. So one pig wasn't enough, so I had to find some more. But luckily, after a bit of exploring, there was some more pigs. Then I gave them some food. Pig farm is now officially done. So I now wanted to build the castle. Most of the castle is now complete. There's a few more things I wanted to add to the castle, one being nether portals. So I went to go and get some obsidian. I wanted to make 2 nether portals, so I did. So I changed out some of the wood with spruce and also added some iron bars, which gave it more of a castle look. And there it is, the castle is pretty much complete. There's a few other things I might add to it, but for the most part, it's kind of complete. So then I spent the rest of the day collecting some potatoes. I also cooked them up for food. It was now the next day, so what I wanted to do, I wanted to find a jungle. After a bit of exploring, I came across a jungle, and then I came across a panda. I've never actually really seen a panda in Minecraft before. So I harvest up some of this bamboo, which I really want to use some of this for some of my builds. So after that, I explored the jungle. As I was exploring, I came across this cool cliffside. There was also a ravine. And then I came across a parrot, so I wanted to tame him. So I got some seeds and I tamed him. I now had a pet parrot, so I spent the night in the jungle. So I climbed this tree so I could see around. And as I was looking on the distance, there was a jungle temple. So I headed over there. And after a bit of time, we finally got there. So I broke some leaves and I jumped up. So I got over to the jungle temple and I broke a way in and I went down into the jungle temple and there was a chest which had diamond horse armor. So then the other chest had bamboo, so I collected that as well. It was now time to head out the jungle and go home. As we were sailing home, we came across a warm ocean and then there was a shipwreck. So I went down to the shipwreck to see if there's any loot and there was, but it was no use to me. So I headed out and continued my journey back home. And then finally, we got home. For some reason, Parrot really liked the Enderman as well. So what I decided to do was plant some of the bamboo that I collected around. Kind of gave it more detail to the area, which made it look a little nicer. So it was the next day and I decided to get myself a new horse. So I went off and tried to find a new horse. And after a bit of exploring, I found a horse. So then I flew down to it and then I tamed it. So I gave it diamond horse armor and a saddle and we headed home. This horse was so fast, by the way. So we got home and I decided to pit him with the other horses for now, and maybe in the future we could build a stable full of horses to go. So then after that I planted some sunflowers around and then I just looked at everything that we've built. It was the next day and then I realised there was a gap which baby zombies could actually fit down. So I had to patch all that up. So I placed glass blocks around so they were safe and couldn't be attacked by any zombies. And then I wanted to make some fire torches around my castle. I thought they looked quite cool. So I added a few around. I didn't want to overdo it and add loads. So anyways, after that, I wanted to make myself a new wheat farm. So I planted all the wheat seeds in and now the farm is done. So I spent the next couple of days collecting some wither heads. So I had enough wither heads now, it was time to head home. And then as I got home, I made myself some end crystals. So everything was pretty much prepared. First I wanted to trade with the villagers, so I harvested all my carrots and potatoes up and traded with the villagers. I got myself loads of emeralds. So I turned them into blocks and I had emerald blocks. So then I continued to harvest up more of the carrots and potatoes, and then I traded with the villagers once again, and that was the end of the day. It is now time. It is now time to defeat the Ender Dragon and the Wither. So I'll say goodbye to all my pets. We have accomplished so much in this world. From defeating the Ender Dragon, we've defeated 3 Withers, and we have celebrated. We have done so much. There was so much good memories we had. But this had to be done. I had to defeat the Wither and the Ender Dragon at the same time. So I looked back at all the things we built, and I put on my elytra and I headed to the stronghold. The fight begins. The end crystals exploded, took me down to 1 heart. So I had my golden apples and I healed back up. The first thing I wanted to do was to take out the Wither. So I got my arrows and I started shooting the Wither. And I know I had to keep moving because I know if I got stuck, it is game straight over. So I kept firing my arrows and kept moving. I was doing so much damage to the Wither. As I was trying to get my food, I was hit by the Wither effect. So I proceeded to shoot him with arrows. I've already got the Wither down to half health. I was way stronger than the Wither. So I kept on shooting the Wither as much as I could with arrows. Then I got him down to half health again. Then I got out my sword and started doing some damage. I was doing a lot of damage to the Wither, and the Wither was doing a lot of damage to me. So I took my last swing, and there it was. The Wither has been defeated. Now the Ender Dragon. But first I had to heal up. My hearts are very low. So first I had to take out the Ender crystals, so I shot them with my arrows. Luckily, my shots were on point. So I shot out a lot of the end crystals. Then the Ender Dragon tried to fire a fireball at me, and he missed. So then I put on my elytra, and I wanted to finish this battle in the air. And then, as I threw my trident, I missed the Ender Dragon, and I threw it off the map. But it was okay, I had my bow and arrow left. So I proceeded to take out the rest of the Ender crystals, and finish this battle once and for all. The Ender Dragon did some serious damage, but luckily I had golden apples. So I kept shooting him with my arrows. She tried to charge at me, but luckily I got out of the way. So the Ender Dragon flew to the middle. It was now my time to do some serious damage. But then as I was going to hit the Ender Dragon, I got knocked up in the sky. But luckily, I had my elytra on me. So I keep shooting the Ender Dragon with arrows, but it did nothing. So I had to go for the sword attack. And as I flew in, I was knocked in the air again. So I just had to wait for the Ender Dragon to move. After a bit of time, the Ender Dragon moved. This was my time to do some damage. It was time to end this fight. And there it was. The Ender Dragon has been defeated. I did it. I defeated the Ender Dragon and the Wither at the same time. So I gathered up all the XP and I headed home. So I got home and said hello to all my pets. And then I made myself another beacon. And then what I decided to do was put it on top of my castle. So I powered up the beacon and I went with speed. Then after that, I went back to the desert to grab some cacti. And then I flew home and made myself some lime green glass because I wanted to put it on top of the beacon to give it a green light. But that's all done. I have the beacon now ready. I think the green looks really cool. Now I wanted to build myself a beetroot farm. So I decided to build it right next to the pig farm because the pigs could have quick access to the food. Then I flattened the ground and then I planted some beetroot seeds. Then I bone milled them up. So I rinsed and repeated that until I had no more bone meal. So then I gave some food to the pigs. So I wanted to add some more detail around. So I planted some trees and added some lights around, planted some more grass. So now I wanted to build a bridge so I could get across easier to the creeper farm. So I used a lot of spruce wood in this build. I flattened the grounds and made some paths. Also added some leaves around. So I wanted to get some lily pads. So I went to the swamp and collected some of those. So I placed in all the lily pads and the bridge is pretty much complete now. So now I wanted to make myself some actual fireworks, so I went back to my creeper farm to grab some gunpowder. Then I went out to the forest and grabbed some flowers. Then I turned the flowers into dye, and then I made some fireworks. It was now night time, so I wanted to get myself some discs, and luckily I did. Got myself my first disc, which was great. After a bit of trying, I finally got myself a second disc. And then it was getting morning, but luckily I was able to get one more disc. And surprisingly, I got disc 11. So I needed to make item frames, but I didn't have any leather, but I had to do what I had to do. So I made myself some item frames and I went down into my room and placed them on the wall. And then I spent the rest of the day just working on some redstone. So the next day I wanted to make a better entrance to the creeper farm, so I did. I added some warped wood and dark oak, which kind of went well together. And there we are, our creeper farm is now 100% complete. So it was the next day and I wanted to do some fishing. So I went to go enchant my fishing rod. I wanted to get Luck of the Sea, but instead I got Unbreaking 3. So I went fishing and got myself some fish. And then I got myself a name tag. So I wanted to name the parrot. So what I'm going to do is leave it up to you guys again. If you guys got any names for the parrot, be sure to put them in the comments. I spent the next day just changing out some of these blocks. So I wanted to change up these blocks a bit, so I decided to add some stone. So then I also made myself a better viewpoint here, so I could see the sun more clearly. And I also placed in the music, and everything was ready for the end. we finally did it. 300 days just around the corner. So I gathered up the pets and we went to go and watch the sunset and have another firework display. Day 300, we finally did it. So what we decided to do, me and Bandit and his friend, we wanted to explore and have a look at everything that we have built. So then guys, this is where our journey ends. 300 days in Minecraft Hardcore Survival. What an adventure this has been.